Hey everybody, welcome to the Patty G Show. I'm your host, Patty G. We are here for another exciting and customized episode of the Patty G Show. We have none other than Brad Duncan of Duncan Customs Kicks in the studio today. We're talking shoes, we're talking side gigs, we're talking NIL, you name it, we're talking about it. Maybe even some leather cutting is going to make its way into here. So before we get to that, I want to give a big, wonderful shout out and thank you to the amazing folks that bring you this show each and every week. Falaya Real Estate, Lake Men's Health Center, Horizon Financial Group, Gage, and Currency Bank, the bank for business owners. Without further ado, enjoy the show. So Duncan, what is it you do, man? Why are we here? Why are we sitting in the chairs?
I think we're sitting here to discuss, I'm hoping, custom shoes. You know, not my job at Apache. I don't think your listening audience would tune in for that.
Okay, so day job at Apache, supporting the family.
Have to.
But then all of a sudden, you just got into shoes.
Yeah.
How? Why?
So, you know the For You page on Instagram?
Yeah,
like it's kind of the things you like.
It's nothing but golf and couples videos for me. That's it.
Yeah, I'm like cars, sports, and shoes was one of them. So I'm thumbing through, right, going down that rabbit hole late at night. And I see this guy's kind of doing a reel, which I learned later in life, you know, because I'm 42. I'm starting to get hip and learn the social media lingo.
It's the kids. They're reverse aging you.
Well, no, because I tell you what's funny. I was just posting pics, and it's like, man, I don't get a lot of traction. And I really wasn't doing it for the likes, but I was like, how do you get a better audience? And so a couple people were sitting me down and like giving me the background on hashtags. And they were like,
"This is for your personal profile."
No, because I'm not trying to get famous. On my,
but
that is it's a pretty unique story in and of itself because it's huge in Japan. It's my personal.
let's put a pin in the Japanese side of things.
Yeah.
And let's continue the hashtag.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm learning about hashtags, but in this conversation, it's not even about hashtags. It's like you're doing still photos. Nobody does still photos.
What year are we?
This is like 2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing just photos.
Still
and
photos.
They're like, you got to make small, impactful reels. And I'm like,
right.
What's a reel? So somebody walks me through and educates me on a transition, right? So I'm getting a full deep dive on how to be a social media influencer in like a week. And so that's what's popping up, right? So I see this guy's reel and he's kind of showing off this shoe and it's like, hit me up for custom. So I click on his page and I'm just going down. I'm like, this is kind of cool. You can't buy this stuff in the store. And at the time I was looking to do a gift for my wife because she was pregnant and we were having what they call a rainbow baby, right? So you have an unfortunate miscarriage. And so it's the next one. But so we were about month 8, out of the woodworks of all the worrying and stuff. So I was like, you know what I can do? I started Googling. I was like, for less than $100, I can get like a paint starter kit, and infant Air Force Ones are like $40.
So hang on. Because, I mean, I don't initially go to sneakers for drawing. So did you have any history in like art, DIY projects, craftiness?
I am pretty crafty. I was always artistic as a kid. Like if I didn't go down the football path for college, I probably would have looked at like the Savannah School of Art and Design.
Okay.
Probably wouldn't have been as talented.
Big differences there.
Huge gap, right? It's like, hey, go play football at Northwestern State or let's go try this art thing out, right? And look, I'm glad I did the Northwestern State route because I probably would have failed miserably. Because after meeting some real artists, like I don't know if you're familiar with Chuck Bro here locally, like he paints portraits.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, that's an artist.
Right.
I tell people what I do is more like I'm just good with painting solids and I learned how to use an airbrush.
I'm a dictative artist.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I want you to draw, but I ain't got a clue how to do it.
No, but you sit down, I'll go to his studio sometimes just to, he and I collaborate on some things and he'll show me what he's working on. And I'm like he's doing a Willie Nelson painting right now. And I'm like, how long? Like, oh man, like 6 hours. And you look at it and you're like, that's insane. The level of detail and I guess your different shades and how he goes about like making that face look real. I'm like, okay, thank you for making me feel like this much of an artist. No, but he's truly a great guy, and I'm glad I met him throughout this journey. It's been fun. But.
So you're doing still photos of what? Shoes? I mean,
no, he was doing the still photos. So
like, what are you doing at the time that you're learning about hashtags and reels? Like, what are you posting about?
So at this point, I'm probably 10 shoes in.
Okay.
And because
so you're just getting it started.
Yeah. So I did the infant rainbow baby Air Force Ones for my wife. My nephew, Duncan and Paxton, wanted a pair, so I knocked them out a pair. And about the same time, I see you got your Papa Earl's can right there. Mark Norman, shout out to Pop, right?
Oh yeah.
He was like, Brad, I want an alligator themed shoe because I got to rock it when I'm doing these Papa Earl events.
Right.
And so he's like, I want like a texture. So he really challenged me to kind of look. So I was like,
a texture?
Yeah. So I got online and started looking at there's like a leather burning kit.
Okay.
So I was like, screw it. I took an old pair that I had and I heated that bad boy up and I started drawing lines and like actually burning in the alligator design or print into the shoe. And he was like, oh yeah, that's what I need. I need this. So we sat out and I did my first alligator print, all black. But when you rubbed it, it was like rubbing the back of an alligator.
You could feel it,
yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what set the tone and difference. Like when I posted those, people were like, man, I've seen hundreds of artists, but I don't think I've ever seen somebody take
that great detail.
Yeah, well, not just the detail. They're like, because it's hard to find something different. Like if you go online and try to create a custom thing, everyone, some people have their unique style, but it's really hard to find something new now because it's been around so long, right?
Right.
And so one of the things is like, man, I don't think that was a lot of the messages I was getting. Like, how did you do that? Like, I've never seen this. And I was like, man, it's a wood burning kit from Amazon for $19. And they're like,
no, that's when you tell them can't
trade secrets.
Trade secret.
Yeah.
Patented technology.
For $3.99 a month if you subscribe to my Instagram channel, I'll tell you.
Look, $50 for my masterclass.
You're right. Yeah.
I'll show you how it's done.
Yeah. And you'll get the link to my Amazon cart too.
Yeah, link in the description of the video. Link in bio. So you decide to embark on this texture creating adventure for Old Pop.
Old Pop.
And obviously you didn't post a still photo of this.
No, I created a reel.
So what was it like? Walk us through your first reel creation.
A lot of insults and jokes from my wife. Like, what are you doing? I had bought a, the rotating cake stand.
Yeah,
it's like
$2. It's Lazy Susan.
Oh yeah, Lazy Susan. I was like, what if I just slowly spin it?
Wait, hold on. So you mean in real life, slowly spin it, not spin it fast and then put it in slow motion after the fact?
Yeah, because let me understand. I think I set the tone by telling you I was learning technology. So let's understand that editing was not okay.
Right. It was one take.
Oh yeah. Well, it was multiple takes, but it wasn't like we didn't combine them together for the best. It was just like, all right, that's a good slow spin right there. Let's go with that. I think I even like to elevate it and did a couple still photos and was like, maybe I can just do like 10 still photos and add them and it like kind of go through the process. I think that's the one I ultimately finalized on, right? I was like, I took a photo of drawing it, and then I took a photo of after I burned it in, then a base coat, and then tape. And so it became a reel of like 20 to 30 still photos, right? Because they were transitioning in. But yeah, I put a sheet over the Lazy Susan to elevate. My wife was like, can you get this crap off my kitchen table? I don't know what you're doing.
And you're like, I'm making magic.
Yeah, I'm like, this is what they say I need to get my follower game up, babe. I got to hashtag it and I got to reel it. Okay.
So what were your hashtags? I've got to know at this point.
Well, so I learned quickly that when you did a hashtag and started typing in, you could see like the number of posts. So
yeah, the most popular ones. They're ordered by popularity.
Yeah, so you go like hashtag and you start typing custom. Like, oh, well, there's a custom Jordan. Oh, I got a custom Jordan.
Of course.
Then you go hashtag Jordan. Oh shoot, well, a lot of people look up Jordans. hashtag kicks of the day, kickstagram. You know, you're like, oh dang, like, but you're just typing in like kick, and you're seeing
what's popular.
Yeah, what's popular, and so. Yeah, I was doing things like that, and you know, seasoning, Papa Earls, or hashtag, you know, alligator print, just anything around the theme of the shoe. And it did. It kind of helped me. I kind of got to like a couple hundred new followers after that. And I was like, man, maybe they're on to something.
That's incredible for one reel.
Oh yeah.
After what sounds like 10 posts, so your 11th post.
Yeah.
Gathering several hundred followers off of one video is pretty powerful.
Yeah, I didn't go back and clean it up because I wanted it to. I like the page to show the natural progression because I go back and I look at some of the shoes I started with, and I'm like, oh man, I can't believe anybody actually wanted these. They're horrible.
So were they all from the get-go ordered, or were you making them and like, hey, this is for sale now? Like making your own, oh, this would be cool type of vibe?
So I'll tell you, we were talking before the show. Pop was actually the first like commissioned me to do.
Okay.
Very low. It was a lot cheaper than what I'm charging now. I can assure you that.
He's like, hey man, I'll pay for the supplies and the shoe like, in seasoning.
But I was like very real and honest with people. I was like, look, it's going to be this because I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't want you to get a terrible product and then you go, hey man, you charged me an arm and a leg for this piece of crap that's like barely hanging on.
Right.
Because I mean, at the time I was still trying to learn the prepping, the painting, the everything that goes on with it. But yeah, no, that was the first couple people. A friend of mine, Lance Arville, I did a pair for him because he's my chief naming officer. We'd name every shoe, right? I give him the design and the theme and kind of like why the person reached out to me. And he's like DJ Khaled with it, man. He's like, you ever watch DJ Khaled walk through his sneaker closet and like, these are called, you know, Miami Night Lights, you know. And so he's like my DJ Khaled of naming. So I give him a background of why somebody wants to do it, and we put that on the card with a little handwritten thank you note. But,
that's awesome.
Thank you so very much to Currency Bank, a proud sponsor of the Patty G Show. If you are looking for a business bank that fosters on 3 core values, relationships, service, and technology, Currency Bank is the place for you. They pride themselves on convenient, accessible, and secure online banking resources where you can manage your account balances, initiate transfers, enroll with e-statements, and more via their online portal. Between the relationships, the service, and the technology, they are going to be that partner with your business every step of the way, regardless of what you need. Currency Bank is the bank for business owners.
But Pop really was like the first one. He was like, let me commission you. I was like, okay. And then about that time, one of the smartest business moves I could do, I did a shoe for Brandon for free, kind of because he's a sneakerhead. And
right.
I think that's how we kind of
That's how we connected.
Yeah, connected at the Small Sliders opening, which that thing's taking off like crazy.
It is phenomenal.
But yeah, transitioned into doing a Smalls one for him later. And then he kind of committed to doing one a month. And then the Smalls thing is just like, it seems like now when everybody, after they buy a franchise, their very next call or message is to me, because they're like, man, I got the franchise, now I need the customs. Because they know the time in which it takes to get them. And so they know, like, shoot, if I sign this contract, I need to start ordering them now so I can wear them when the can drops.
Right. When like at the can opening or the VIP event where we were at, there were literally everyone that was a part of the franchise team or from corporate was in the customs.
Oh, yeah.
And they were all different too, which is what I love. It's not like you're going to make 100 of the same kind and give them out to these people. It's all individual and custom. And we even did a little video play on his sneakers. And I'm like, that's just...
Oh, yeah.
It pops.
Yeah, it really does. And I tell you, that's what I think is the side of the business that's taken off for me is the branding aspect. You know, you got your koozie, right? And you got your shirts and your hats. But
right.
People are now utilizing, which kind of transition with the Gordon thing, right? I mean, it's a walk-in billboard.
It is. And that was in part as soon as he told me, like, oh, yeah, I made Brandon's. I was like, oh, my gosh. Yeah, like from that Smalls component just there. And then now you've got, which we got to get into, how in the world did you even connect with Gordon?
So it's actually interesting. So a friend of ours, Joey Rosenfeld, connected me with a mutual friend, Jeff Watson. But he didn't realize that I had known Jeff Watson since I was a kid. So this lady, Kemper Luttrell, used to babysit me back in the day, and her boyfriend, who's now husband at the time, him and his buddies played in 3-on-3 hoop-it-up basketball.
Okay.
And so we would go travel and watch when my parents would travel, and they'd be out of town. She would bring us in. So Jeff was on this team, and I was just that punk, bratty, teenage kid, pantsing them, doing all the things. And I say that because every time he sees somebody, he's like, oh, yeah, this little punk kid used to pants me at these events. Yeah, like I hated everything about him. So he connects us, and he's like, hey, I'm doing this NIL stuff with Gordon, but I think what would be cool is I'd like to give Gordon a Jordan. Jeff is so much of a Jordan sneakerhead. He actually has the Jumpman logo tattooed on his leg. And that's literally all he wears. If you ask him, he'll tell you he's got like 80 or 90 Jordan. I mean, it's insane. If he sees, he's probably getting 2 or 3 shipped to the house, maybe some to the office so his wife doesn't see. But he's getting them.
Oh no, that was a gift. That was a gift from a business deal. Somebody, they just know I love Jordans.
Yeah. When he closes out a case, I think a treat to himself is a nice pair of Jordans. So we do that. We sit down. We make G a pair. We call them the Air Gordon ones. He loves that.
Oh, I saw the video he made, I guess, when he got them.
You see the duck, like, Latangela Faye was going bananas.
Like, don't crease them, you know?
I think he went straight to her, and she goes, like, who told you to walk like this? And I think in the video, it's like, well, Duncan and Jeff told me I can't crease these babies. And so he was literally...
like just sliding across the floor.
Yeah, and I think they called it like the G-Walk or whatever. It was something crazy. But it got a lot of, talking about getting some hits. That got like 40,000 views or something. And we collaborated on it. So it was kind of cool seeing the likes. I was like, man, this is kind of awesome.
Well, and collaborations like that from people of your past or people that you know of then elevate your company itself from like one collaborative deal. I'm sure your DMs started just lighting up.
They do, and they haven't stopped because, it's hard to get the time frame or timeline down perfect because it all kind of happened at once. Like Jordan Arsmall with LSU, we were kind of working on a deal for doing like Brian Kelly shoes during the home games.
Yeah. Along
with Gordon liking his shoes and wanting to do some for his executive team. And then I met a gentleman named Peter Wright with Lord Murray. He was a sneakerhead, and he started wanting to get some shoes. We were doing some Joe Burrow Foundation shoes during the time. So it was like this perfect storm, if you will, of like everything coming together. And the one thing I will say that was good about the Gordon thing is his first initial order was like 67 pair. And so
just for his executives?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he does a thing at Topgolf where they're doing a team building event, kind of walking through the year, I believe, and he gives them a gift. And so one year it was like custom suit jackets. So this year he's like, because of Jeff, and I think Jeff kind of talked him into it. So he's like, we're doing custom Jordans. So we went and let him, it was kind of cool because you get to see where people's creative thought process goes. And so we gave them a piece of paper and they took it home and their husbands and that was the cool thing. A lot of the girls, they could have chose, what do you call them? The Golden Goose sneakers.
Yeah.
Because they were there. That was an option. But the men only could get Jordans. Well, it was like 80% women that committed to the custom Jordans because they're like, oh, my husband's going to be so mad about this. Or my son, they don't know what's going to happen with these colors. Yeah. And so the one thing I'll say that really helped with that was I was able to get a lot of product relatively quick. So you're starting to post.
And that's a lot of time, though.
A lot of sleepless nights. I can't tell you. So, you're working from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. You try to come home and be a father of 5 from like maybe 5 to 7.
5:15.
Hey guys, here's a Hot Pocket. Yeah.
Hey, I'm Dad.
Don't know him, you know who I am. But we got to keep this ship afloat. Private school tuition's not going down, and I don't know if you've seen, but the cost of living is not, staying steady here recently. So
no, it's not steady. No, it's not declining either.
I've heard that.
It's weird.
I've heard that. Yeah,
people have accepted prices and said this is the new norm.
Yeah, I get the low statement alert a lot now from Hancock Whitney.
Yeah,
like, hey, just give you an FYI, you're below the threshold.
I made a build out spreadsheet for a Jeep probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I went there, opened it up this morning, and I was clicking on the hyperlinks that I'd hyperlinked in my Excel spreadsheet for each part, and I had the original pricing, and I included the tax. The CPA in me is like, no, that price times 1.1. So when you go and present it before your house board of the decision maker, they get the full price. Yeah. And
don't give me any hidden fees.
Right. So I clicked on it and bring it to the website. I'm like, these have all gone up like 15%.
So did you present it?
No.
You held that one.
I just click save and close out of that little
we can get
Excel
this out
file
right now if you want to kind of air it out. Yeah, really ease the burden of that conversation.
Yeah. Jay, just start scrolling through it right here, on the screen.
Yeah, can you pull that up?
So, but anyhow, yes, everything's been going up. Cost of living's going up. So you're like, I got to do this. I got to continue to keep the house afloat. The 5 kids. That's a lot of mouths to feed. I'm assuming it's not all girls, so you got some boys mixed in there.
Yeah, I got 3 girls, 2 boys.
All right, well, so your odds are a little bit better. You're only feeding 2 boys and not, 5.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's my sister-in-law's got 4 boys and 1 girl. So
they got to be eating her out of the house and home.
Oh yeah, there's the furniture started to disappear. They're just eating it.
Imagine taxiing on a plane looking toward the end of the runway. It seems so far away, it's even hard to see it. And that's what the concept of retirement probably felt like when you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, way far in the distance, not visible or even a concern. But as you turn 50, something happens. Retirement suddenly seems like something real, something not too far away. In your 50s, you are rolling down the runway. Retirement is getting closer and closer, faster and faster, weeks and months zipping by. But are you even ready for a successful takeoff to retirement? Fear not, there's still runway left, but the time is now. Time to make progress, and time to get a plan. The Runway Decade will help you get organized, get energized, and give you the direction you need to take off to your desired retirement. The Runway Decade, building a pre-retirement flight plan in your 50s.
So, all right, so you come home, you do the father bit, and you're like, I got 67 pairs.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is like a mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're the only one doing this, right? You don't have a team.
Yeah, so I will say this. I did leave this part out. Before I committed, and, this is a testament to G and where he's at, I said, look, this is a part-time job.
This is a hobby.
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't even a part-time. You're right. Thank you for the credit. This is a hobby.
Like, this is your, 12th pair?
Yeah, and it's like we're diving deep, and I was like, I just don't, I'm running the math in my head, and at this time it was like 10 to 15 hours
per shoe.
Yeah, or per pair, right?
Oh, well, yeah,
per pair.
There's 2 of them,
right? Yeah, I don't, I'm not just selling the left, okay? And so I was like, yeah, that anxiety starts to hit. So I was like, hey, before I commit,
that's 600 hours.
Yeah, I was like, first of all, I'm going to need 8 to 10 months, okay? And he was like, that's no problem. And then I was like, to give me some sense of sanity throughout this process, do you mind if I enlist, because I knew some artist friends locally, I said, do you mind if I enlist some help? And he said, Brad, when you hire Gordon, you don't get Gordon McKernan. You get a team of great people. So do what you need to do. Just get it done, See what I did there?
I saw what you did there.
And so I did. I reached out, and they've got some great people. I got a guy named Discomfort. He's actually in Washington. That helps me out. Chuck Bro, locally. A guy named Manny with Manny Customs also helps me out. Because, look, I'll tell you, there's some tremendous, talented people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when you don't see a red Corvette, you go buy a Corvette, and then, all of a sudden that's all you see on the road. It's like you get into paint, and now that's all I see. They've got like a guy named Going Through Customs that does it. There's a Sauce did that. I'm like, I didn't realize just how many like well-known, talented artists are in this area, painting, making shoes, and I mean they can do just a laundry list of things. They don't just paint shoes, right? They're on canvas and everything like that. So I was able to enlist them, and it eased the burden. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that having manpower and having just a little bit of help, even if it's doubling, you know, like you and one other person, still is huge.
Oh yeah, because I ended up, I think we split that one down the middle. You know, kind of took half of it upon myself, and then the other half I kind of divvied it up. But the one thing that Jeff and Gordon and them, like the athletes, like
you had to be
the
one
to personally do that. Yeah,
which makes sense.
Yeah,
you know, like if you've got a special order for somebody, they're going to want you to do it. You know, but if they're saying we're going to give these out as gifts, we want your design input, we want your drawing and we want you to say, hey guys, this is how we're going to design the shoe. Here's the little elements for each of the other ones that we're going to do. And then you can have somebody else help you facilitate that. But for them, and it's like, I'm sure when Gordon's like, hey, I want another pair, you know, which I'm sure he's had quite a few more pairs.
Yeah, I owe him a purple and gold pair, which reminded me as we were sitting here. Yeah, put that down on the list.
Football season's right around the corner.
Yeah, and I still got to reach out. I tell you, the Brian Kelly thing was super cool, and it got me a lot of love because what they did was he would wear them during Tiger Walk, and then he would auction them off to raise money for Bayou Traditions, the NIL.
Yeah.
And so that was super cool, getting to do some unique things. They'd let me bring my son to practice, and
that's pretty fun.
Get my son on the field, you know, after a game. It just those memories that being able to create with the family really meant a lot. And I was like, you know what, we got something pretty cool here.
Now they're like, man, Dad, you're that cool dad.
Yeah, you're cool. Don't stop. Okay.
Don't stop customizing sneakers, Dad, please.
Yeah. Because Gordon, one of the athletes was Angel Reese, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was I think we gave her the custom Jordans, or he did, right, for her birthday.
Yeah, it was some box, famous box or whatever.
Oh, yeah, to bedazzle that. Could have had to give her that Bayou Barbie look.
So were you involved with the box facilitation and all that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you were top down, shoes, the bag, the box.
I painted the bag, everything. Oh, yeah. I went the full 9 on that one. No outsourcing. Not a dime of that shoe was outsourced. I did it all. But no, my daughter got to come, so she thought it was the coolest thing ever. But a week later she signs with Reebok, so she's like, I'm sorry, I can't really share these, you know. But I was like, well, as long as you love the shoes, I love them, but I can't really wear them and post them. But
you're like, send me a pair of Reeboks.
Yeah, send me a pair of Reeboks. Well, we were trying to do Reeboks, but it was crazy. They didn't see. I think she's a 10.5. So that's a 12 in women's, and the biggest women's shoe they had online is 11. I was like, how are you going to make this the face?
You call them up, hey, I got somebody that's going to be the face of your brand.
Like, hey, Shaq.
Yeah, send me a size 12.
Yeah, I couldn't find his number, though.
I'll share it after the show.
Appreciate that. I'm sure he would appreciate that.
So you hit that level, right? And people ask me it all the time, right? Like, who's the best guest you can get? Who are you trying to get to? So you reach what, in my mind, 67 shoes from one customer. That's a significant order. Yeah. Where do you go from there on how do you sustain it? Oh, so
we ran it back. He did a second one. Yeah.
The second round?
Yeah, and that one was 72. You know, we got 13 left of that. So that's how you
you keep it going?
That's how you sustain it, my friend.
So you find that big customer and you just figure out how many times can they reorder. What's their reorder point?
We're riding that pony. Yeah. Jeff said, I got to remember the text. I hope I don't get it wrong, because Jeff was like, don't be mad at me. Is how he starts. But, you know, the shoes were such a hit on the initial round that I think G wants to do it as a Christmas present for the remaining office. So he said they want you to come to the Christmas party this year, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to announce it. And it was kind of the same setup. He let the girls choose from a Golden Goose or, you know, get the custom Jordans. And it was another great turnout. It was another 72. And like I said, I mean, you can't tell the man no, because some of the things he's been able to provide for me, him and his marketing team really have helped my brand grow tremendously. Because during that 72 pair, you know, he's like, hey, I know you're in the middle of this big order, but what we need to do is we need to, on hold for a second, I want 5 baseball cleats for the Vanderbilt series. And it was for the Florida series, which would have given me 1 week to do 5.
To 5, so 50 hours.
Yeah. And
what have you gotten the time down any?
Oh yeah, now I'm like, I can get that puppy down to about 8 to 10.
It's still a lot of time.
Oh yeah, it's still a
One
lot of
pair
time when
shoes.
you're thinking about it. But I started just panicking. I was like, is there any way we can move it to another series? He wanted a big home game series, right? And so luckily, I think it was like Florida. They went away, and then they were coming back for Vanderbilt. And it was like, could you do Vanderbilt? I was like, I can, but I'm going to need to take a week of PTO at my real job. So I did. I ended up literally, I was like, hey, boss, I got to take a week of PTO. And he's like, man, you going anywhere fun? I was like, no, I'm going to be at home painting shoes, you know?
So what's that dynamic like?
Telling them that I'm taking PTO.
Like, hey, I'm taking time off
well,
to go paint shoes.
Yeah, you got it.
I know you have to, but like, what is their reactions? Are they at all concerned?
No, they're not concerned because, you know, when you're explaining what it is, you know, LSU's big.
Right.
And my
that's
boss,
an easy
and
sell.
boss is local, so it's like, oh, what? Who are you doing these shoes for? I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, have fun, man. Send me some pics when you're done.
So at what point in time do you just like walk into his office with his own custom shoes in a box and say, hey, here's that week of PTO.
Thanks. Can I get that back?
I need another week.
Yeah.
Here's
You're
some
not going to
shoes.
believe this, but I got to get another 72 of these out. What's the odds of doing another one? Yeah, but yeah, the way he looked at it is like, you're either going to the beach or you can do what you want on your PTO.
It's PTO, yeah.
But the only thing I was concerned about was it was a last minute request. It wasn't like here's a couple weeks notice. It was like, hey, I really need to take next week off.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. It was a pretty cool thing getting to watch them play in the shoes. And then Gavin Guidry wore them pretty much, I think, the remainder of the year. So every time he took the bump. So, you know, when they were playing North Carolina with the bases loaded, he dropped the hammer on old boy to close out that inning. I was just, you know, my son, you know, my daughter, like, Dad's in the Customs, man. Did you see that? I'm like, yeah. So you felt like, obviously you weren't a part of the game, but it was like a small.
You were a part of it.
But it was just like moments like that with the family were super cool. Just to, you know, and people were messaging like, "Hey, were those your customs?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm so jacked up right now." You know, but super appreciative for anybody that decides to wear them because you know you give them for one series and you don't know if they're gonna, you know, go above and beyond after that. And a couple of them did, and it was super cool for me to.
Thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Lake Men's Health Center with Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group. Guys, I know it's tough to get out and go to the doctor. I know it's challenging to find time in our busy days, but I promise you, signing up to be a part of this group with Dr. Curtis Chastain and Dr. Tyler Boudreau, you won't regret it for several reasons, but most of those being the fact of the time it saves, where you're able to get in on the same day, get that appointment done, and spend that time you need to talk with them about what your health goals and concerns are, as well as ensuring that the financial investments you have, you will be able to live out and see those come to fruition. So if you're an investing guy, you know all about and planning for the future and investing in the future. There's no other more important thing to invest in than your health. Make sure you go check them out. Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group Men's Health Center, and tell them Patty G sent you.
Yeah.
You're a part of that.
I mean, you're a part of a historical moment at any given game that's happening. But for them to then keep wearing them, you know, especially you hit the right sport, baseball, where they're all, you know, just a little stitious.
You have a good game in a pair.
You're not. They're going to be just the same dirt through every game from there on out.
Yeah. So I don't know if you remember Bear Jones when he hit the over the batter's eye. It was like dead center, 480 feet. He was rocking the Customs, and I was just like. And then, so the Vanderbilt series, we did a Buzz Lightyear pair for Josh Pearson in his first at bat. He turns one as a home run. I'm just like, and then you go to LSU Baseball's Instagram page and like in the Buzz Lightyear cleat. So you're just like, okay, this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool.
Did they give you credit for it and all that?
No, you can't really get into credit with, you know, LSU sports properties and things like that. They really do a great job of protecting the brand. And so that really doesn't offend me because, you know, being in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, it's literally like 1 degree of separation. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, you know, who ended up doing the shoe.
And you have the ability to go in and just comment on the post.
Yeah.
And say, love the sneaks.
Yeah.
You know?
Or you can, I love the fact that it's public so you can reshare it. So I literally, like, anytime they post, I was like, you know, arrow pointing to them and share. Like, please don't send me a cease and desist letter.
I mean, it's anybody can share a post.
No,
you know?
I did. I think I went about it the right way. when we did it, I reached out to one of the top guys with LSU, and I kept him in the loop. Like, hey, this is what the G team wants to do, and I would run the designs by. I think he was super appreciative of that, and he was super helpful during the whole process. And he was like, "Yep, no," because you know, doing a Buzz Lightyear cleat, it's not purple and gold. So you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna get," and he's like, "No, you know, they call him Buzz. You know, appreciate you asking. You know, if I wouldn't have asked, it wouldn't have probably gotten blessed, but." No, it was a good time for sure.
And part of doing custom designing and working with big brands, you have to be aware of that fact.
Yeah.
You can't go in and say, "Oh, it doesn't matter." Like you were long-sighted enough to see, if I want to continue doing this on the first go round, I've got to check every box, every hoop, every step that they need me to take. I've got to take it so I can do more of these and continue growing it out there. But the real question is, did you call Disney?
No, I didn't. But that's why I didn't do any portraits.
Okay.
I didn't know if they trademarked. The only thing that may have got me in trouble was I did put Buzz.
That's his nickname.
Okay, but that's his nickname. That's why I stuck.
That's the player's name, you know.
So I stuck with colors.
Yeah.
Because you don't.
That's a bigger animal than you want to deal with.
LSU. We need to talk about these cleats your boy was rocking. But no, I did. You know, it's cool. You do learn some ins and outs. Like, you know, it's a Nike school, so It was like, hey, they really guided me to stay with Nikes. Don't do Jordan. You know, because it's, even though it's under the same umbrella, they are two separate.
You got to have the swoosh.
Yeah, you have to, two separate entities. You know,
mm-hmm.
Same when I did Joe Burrow's cleats. It was like he's you know, at the time he was a Nike brand athlete. When you do the Jordan, paint over the, you know, cover up the Jordan logo. That's all we ask.
So that was as simple as that for them on how to make sure they were in line with their contract?
Yeah, because I think it was like something to do with the shoe, and it was a little bit of a comfort thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it was just, hey, this is the shoe he wants to wear, but just make sure, you know, because those guys will send you the shoe. You don't get to just get the shoe and paint, because I think there's, I don't know what the rules and regulations are, but there are some. So I think his agent or marketing group ended up sending in the shoe just to confirm that it was a legit shoe. And then I think that's why I had to paint it so far in advance to get it, because I think then they've got to pass it through a certain protocol before it even hits his feet. So it was kind of cool, though, to be a part of that.
I was about to say, did you ever think from that first pair you were painting, you would be sitting there probably in a room of lawyers looking at the shoe, trying to determine, you know, is this okay? You know, is this art acceptable to put on TV? And you're just like, I just want to paint it, you know?
I tell you, though, it was a sense of nervousness when you're painting somebody like, you know what Joe Burrow is to this town, right?
Yeah.
And then you know what he is to the NFL. And you're like, part of you is like, you know, thank you, Peter Wright, for lining this up and getting this for me. But then you're like, man, what if he does bad? What if something happens? You know, like, because then it becomes, who did these shoes? You know, never again. Nobody touched Duncan's custom kicks, because this dude, you know, what if he rolls an ankle or something? You know, you're just like, I didn't make the shoe. That's on Nike.
Look, I just painted the shoe.
Yeah,
you know?
But you know how people get. They're like, get this guy out of here. He ruined our season. We were going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Until he put on these kicks.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Duncan. But I tell you, it was we did experience the highs and lows with that, because, like I said, super cool moment, and we were prepared to watch. But he ended up hurting his wrist. He was actually going to wear a Monday Night Football against Trevor Lawrence for the My Calls My Cleats game.
Yeah.
So not only are you getting that, but you're getting like the only game of the evening. So I was really pumped up about that. And you know, it was unfortunate he hurt his wrist, but I got a feeling he's going to come back with a vengeance.
Oh yeah.
This year. So who knows? Maybe I'll get to do him again.
You know,
fingers crossed.
If you're out there,
yeah. Peter Wright, if you're watching.
But I think something like shoes and customization, that industry as a whole, when you put that in comparison and together with an athlete and how much they're out there in photographs and videos, like your marketing budget, zero.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, you're never your marketing is, hey, but just wear the shoes. Just wear it. That's it.
Yeah, actually, you know, we were talking about athletes, but one of my favorite pairs that I did this past year was Coach Jay Clark, LSU Gymnastics.
Yeah.
So he wore them every home game. Put the little stick crown, gave it the name. It's all around the concept of the team, and then getting to see him bring home a national championship, for the first time in those customs. That was like I tell him, it's like shame on me for not being aware of the sport years ago, but his daughter cheerleads at Parkview with my daughter, and a mutual friend and his neighbor Tony Berrigan connected us there. It's like, hey, we were just kind of joking one Friday night football game at Parkview. It's like, hey, we need to do a pair. So I did it last year, and then we just continued the tradition this year. And I tell you, it's become one of my favorite. I don't know if you've been to a gymnastics meet in person.
I'm not.
Electric.
Is it?
Brother, if you got to go next year for an SEC gym. Let me know. I don't know if I can get you a ticket. Maybe Jay, if we can do another custom shoe for tickets deal here, but you got to go see it. The PMAC is rocking. It gets more intense than some of the women and men's basketball games.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard like you have to go to a gymnastics meet.
You have to. And there's always something, the rotations, and then when they close out on a floor routine and they're just whooping the dog, out of somebody, and just, athlete after athlete is just hitting, and it's just going wild. I mean, it's fun. The moment of not only just watching your shoes on TV, but seeing he's a genuinely good dude. Seeing him bring home that title to LSU, that was so freaking cool, and I'm so proud of him and the team for that.
And it's being a part of that. Again, you're not on the team, but you're like...
I wasn't on the beam. I'm going to tell you right now, we weren't going to bring home the title if I was on the beam. I can assure you that.
But the floor routine, that's got to be your space.
I'm going to tell you something. I could shake my tail feather. Now, I don't know if you would see me land a backflip. Now, that's probably not going to happen. But when we get to the moving and the shaking, I would have brought the heat for sure.
I think you could bring maybe a tap element to it. Wear your shoes, put some little metal taps on the bottom.
That's probably unique. It's never been done.
I better see it next year.
That's funny.
Welcome to the brand new Falia mobile app. We took all the same tech that's helped hundreds of people sell their homes themselves and packed it into an easy-to-use app for your phone. When you download the Falia mobile app on either the Apple or Android App Store, you'll immediately be able to see the power of this game-changing tool. From the seller's dashboard, you can navigate to all the information that you need. We intentionally separated everything into key groups, such as tasks to be completed, buyer leads for your listing, and contact information for everyone involved through closing. When you get an offer on your property, you can simply review and respond all within the app. No matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to monitor everything that's going on with your property from listed to sold. It's truly the power of Falia in the palm of your hand. Download the app and see for yourself. Falia, it's real estate reimagined.
So why were they Jordans? Like, why did you start off with the Nikes? I know, like, it's the most customized shoe, I think, but was it, like, did you love Jordans growing up? Did you love the Nike brand? Or were you just like, the Air Forces and the baby was the kickoff for the shoes?
Well, that was the kickoff, but it wasn't the kickoff for my passion. I've always loved Jordans. Like I've told people before, I skipped school, like in junior high, because the Jordan 11s, the Concords, with the patent leather were coming out, and I needed to play ball in, and so I've always loved sneakers. I'm not just am I a Jordan guy? No, my number one shoe that I probably have in my closet are the Air Maxes. Those are one of the most comfortable pair, and they make some cool, unique colorways. But the reason why you see the Jordans and the Air Force Ones as the predominantly customized shoe is because it comes in what they call a triple white or an all white shoe. So that's what you're trying to get. You're trying to get a solid base to be able to create basically anything you want. Now, I know there will be some times where you could probably buy a different shoe if the client's wanting like a black sole or a red sole, because that's the one thing on the shoe you can't paint. I mean, you could paint it, but like you step out of here and it's already cracking and peeling because of the material in which it is. The paint isn't conducive to holding that particular product. So, other than that, I just tell people 9 times out of 10, hey, look, let's just go with the all white. Don't be in love with having a painted sole. because that way we can be as creative as we want to be with the shoe.
Have you explored how to change the color of the sole? Is there a way to change the color of the sole?
I mean, there are people coming out with products with these dyes and stains. I haven't tried it yet. There is like a yellowing technique, like an aged thing. It's like a Sharpie, almost a paint pen. And I've been able to transition to give like an aged sole. Okay. But no, I haven't really played around. There's one, I got to go check out a link here in the next couple of weeks. But like I said, I hadn't had a chance to come up and breathe.
I was about to say, you probably are just filling orders right now.
No, because I tell you, I bought a patching machine like 6 to 8 months ago.
Okay.
And it's been in my garage in the styrofoam box in which it shipped in.
So what's a patching machine?
So I want to get to where I'm taking off the Nike checks. You know, you see the Travis Scott's got the reverse swoosh. Yeah. I just want to kind of be able to give that different element to really change it up. So Travis Scott is a huge brand right now between people, and if I can take a Jordan and reverse the swoosh and give it a Travis Scott look, but then give that custom paint in addition to. Right. Yeah, I think that'll be next level. But that's why part of me is like been trying to slow down and not really saying yes a lot. I know I've been pissing people off left and right here lately, but I need to breathe. I need to get back to being a father. And I just don't want to come home and be overwhelmed with painting shoes. And the fact that I did start a new job three and a half weeks ago, is that you leave a job that was pretty much on cruise control. Like you've got processes and procedures in place, to now you're coming over somewhere new with a new team, trying to figure out how you work with one another, and then kind of not just putting your touch on it, but kind of like a collaborative effort, and then kind of putting that in place and rolling through. It's not like, where you were for 10 years. So like I said, it's been mentally draining, and so I'm like, God, I need to play a little catch up here on some sleep.
Is there a point where you drop the 9 to 5?
That point would have to come when the kids are out of school.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Is tuition hasn't been going down lately. It's
well. So when you think of Duncan Customs Kicks, is it you in every facet, meaning painting, the design, the whole meeting with the client process, or are you creating more of a brand of here's the type of work we do? Meaning at some point, do you see getting somebody on the team and then it being, great, here's my role. I help do the initial phase, get the concept, draw it out, sketch it out, but then I turn it over to my team and they actually create the shoe.
Well, I'd like for it to get that way, but I don't want to be the guy that takes the credit for others' work. So what I've actually transitioned to and what I like is, instead of telling people no, I try to tell them no, but guide them to another artist. Okay. And so I always give them the 3 to 5 guys that I use for help, and instead of me taking it like I did with the outsourcing for the Gordon order, right? And so I found a passion in trying to help others, because, I mean, like I said, there's too many feet in America for there to be one guy painting shoes. Right? Oh, yeah. And so I kind of like that concept. And like I tell people, I'm not really trying to build a brand. It's the moments that have been created for my kids that are been the most impactful for me. If it blows up, it blows up. But I don't think I'll ever be in a position to where I'm knocking out 20 to 30 pair a month. So what I am trying to do is I'm trying to choose the most impactful pairs, if that makes sense. Because I'm really not out here doing it for the money as much as I am just the experiences and the doors it's opened up. Because I'll have customers from my main job like, man, I saw what you did there. That's super cool. So, if a guy, probably wouldn't give me the time of day if I didn't, have this cool thing going on the side, it becomes a different level of engagement, and you connect on a more personal level than a professional, right? So it kind of opens you up and allows them to want to meet with you.
Exactly. It gives you that foot in the door to then maybe one day bring it beyond. Yeah. I mean, right? Because that's when you can't get the time down, because it is art, right? And so art takes time. You can't speed up the process that paint dries, number one. And number two, you can't speed up, doing the lines and everything. Because I've seen some YouTube videos on people painting shoes, and just the details that go into every single pair. I'm like, that is insane. The amount of intricacies and everything.
Yeah.
So, at least are you videoing your process, dude?
I need to.
We'll talk. We'll talk after and get some PB&J discussion with you on
greatest hats
on some
in the game,
productions.
by the way. I think that's what kind of had me walk over and talk to her. I was like, I want to tell y'all I love the hats because my daughter, we call it peanut butter and jelly, and I saw those hats and I was like, you guys got something there.
Yeah.
Not sure what it is y'all are doing, but y'all are next level with the hat game.
It's like the shoes, man.
Yeah.
Something that just pops
Yeah.
and it throws you out of loop. Because why would you expect to see that logo on a hat?
Yeah. If I recall, it was a headset, right?
Yeah.
It
was peanut butter and jelly sandwich with a headset.
With a headset. Like, I was like, okay. It's like, I need one of those.
Coming 2024.
Can you drop the merch?
Yeah, the TikTok shop, right?
Right. We'll do a reel.
Yeah. So now I've got to ask about the Japan in your personal profile.
I forgot we were saying.
yeah.
So, obviously, there's a lot of people that know Marucci, right?
Yeah.
So, Marucci, nobody really remembers Marucci when they first started. They were making like 5 to 8 bats a day tops. I don't know if you recall, but you could go in there, you could hit in the cage, and you could see some former Major League Baseball players bone rubbing a bat. So yeah, Kyle Orso, a good friend of mine, Brian West as well, was working there, and these guys are in a dust shop. Just I don't even know if it was legal what they were doing. I mean, they were spray painting bats outside, I think, at one point. But what happened was the Japanese Pro League had kind of approached them and was like, "Hey, I need to get send me some prototypes." So they had some names. I think Brian West, BD 45 or 54. I think Kyle Orso had one. So because they all named their bats and they needed a 5th name, so they were like, "Well, let's do one for Brad Duncan. Let's do the BD10 Pro model as the 5th one and ship it off." Well, come back to him. It was like, "Hey, we like the BD10 Pro model. Give us 10,000." So it was like the first initial
Holy
big order.
Smokes.
And so Kyle Orso and Brian West, they made me a BD10 Pro model bat, but on the back of it, they put "I'm huge in Japan." And so I was like, I got to take on the persona.
Right.
Because, I'm like, these guys don't even know that it's some overweight white guy back in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They're like, "Man, I'm seeing this BD10 Pro model. Man, it must be a good Major League Baseball player." Wrong.
It was you.
It was me. So that's what I joked. So I took on I lost the Twitter handle because I got hacked and I can't get it back. I wish I could, but I instantly started the Instagram and Twitter account at Huge in Japan 10. So that's where I get that name from. People always find that interesting, like Brad Duncan,
Right.
Huge in Japan. Tell me.
Yeah, what's the story there?
I'm like, I'm kind of a big deal over in Japan there, my
Right.
friend.
You ever heard of the BD10?
And they're like, "No."
And you're like, they have, and that's all that matters.
Well, the funny thing about it is not a normal bat that you see in the bigs. It's like they don't hit for power there. They hit for base hits. And so it is like this. It's almost like a fungo stuff. It's very thin.
So did you design the bat?
Oh, God, no.
You were just friends with the guys there, and they're like, "We'll name it after you."
Nothing to do with the creation of the bat. Matter of fact, I don't even know if they told me. I think it was like they told me like a couple weeks later, like, "Hey, we put your BD10 Pro model on a bat and got a big order. So here you go. Here's a bat."
That's it. That was their.
I still got it with me.
That was how we're gonna pay you back. Forget NIL.
Yeah,
we're just gonna give you a
I'm
bat.
still waiting on some royalties there. I don't know how to get those, but I would appreciate it.
Now you got to make them a shoe that says BD10 # Where my money.
Where my money at? That's probably what I need to do.
That's a good story, man. I like that.
Yeah.
This episode is proudly presented by Gage. Gage is a local company here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. For over 40 years, Gage has provided businesses with the very best telecommunications, IT, and standby power services available. Gage has a variety of services, including Gage Cloud Voice. It is the last phone system your business will ever need. You need to give your business the ability to be accessible anytime, anywhere, and with Gage's cloud-based phone system, you'll be able to accomplish just that. Not only do they have Gage Cloud Voice, they have fully managed IT services that are proactive network monitoring, 24/7, 365, help desk, business continuity. They are there for you. What you're also going to need is some cybersecurity. Gage is there to safeguard your business from potential cyber threats, even when you aren't aware they exist. Gage also is power and leaders in standby generators. They are the #1 Cummins dealer on the Gulf Coast and provide generators to homes and businesses of any size so you can keep life going. Gage, better connected, a proud sponsor of the Patty G Show. So before we get you out of here, we ask every guest the same set of questions. You know, very hard hitting ones.
Let's change the world.
Let's do it. What is something you did as a kid you wish you could still do today?
Oh man.
You thought I was lying for a second.
No, wow. I wish you would have texted these to me. You know, one of my favorite things was playing outdoors at night, playing just games with no technology. I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
Because you never know when the last time you were going to play with that group of friends.
Right. Well, you thought it was going to be tomorrow, you know, at the time.
I wish I could do that because it was a time before phones and like, we were outside. Hey, street lights are on. Come home.
Right.
I wish I could do that. That would be fun again.
And that style of play, as I have kids now and like seeing and remembering those times, and like we've got 2 families on our street that have boys. One's like a week apart of ours, and the other one's like a few months. And so they're known as, you know, the group of, you know, boys in the neighborhood that just go and run amok. And seeing them play together, I'm like, man,
you know,
to be out there in your full day clothes and jumping in a water puddle and just as happy as you can be, and seeing your buddy and just screaming out the top of your lungs and like full arms extended, like, and then running down the street to each other. I'm like, man.
You know, I tell people, COVID was a terrible time. Right? I'm not taking away from that.
Yeah.
But I say if there was a positive from COVID, was it slowed everything down. And we had just moved into a new neighborhood, Carriagewood off of Elliott, and the kids. It was just like you see like little bicycle gangs. Oh, yeah. And that's all they did because they didn't have school, so they literally had to do something, so they couldn't physically be on their phone all day. And so it gave me a little remembrance of a time that used to be, and I love that. That's the only thing I really liked about COVID was it kind of slowed everyone down, and you got to connect. Be outdoors with friends and family.
That ultimately like reconnected me and my wife with some friends of ours, like who live away, right? Because we started doing virtual calls. Because at that point we're like, well, we can't really go do a whole bunch. Let's just call them and FaceTime. And then we're like, why did it take COVID for us to be like, we can just pick up a FaceTime and you're 12 hours away, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. We started. It was called Meet in the Street. You know, we'd get our work done, and the wives started a little early, but you know, we'd get there about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and figure out where we were Uber Eatsing food, and we all just collectively ate as a group and sat in a circle in a driveway. I mean, it was some of the, you know, my fondest memories, you know, over the past couple of years. It was kind of fun.
Oh yeah, those times with people and family and just neighbors.
Mm-hmm. You didn't have to go to baseball.
You didn't. You didn't have all the sports and the afternoon activities you had to rush off to and drive all across town.
Slowed you down.
I know, it was just a good time. What are 3 lessons you've learned along the way?
Communication is key. I think it's so easy for people to gossip and talk about the problems that they're having with individuals instead of just addressing. I think if you can kind of just be open and communicate, I've learned that in the hard way, obviously, but that I think is the number one takeaway from anybody. If something's bothering you, speak about it, you know, because it's not worth bottling it up and then go running the rumor mill with your buddies. Second thing, fail early and fail often. I think, if I could go back in time, I would have taken more risk. Obviously, as you have kids, you can't really take the risks that you want at 42 years of age, right?
Right.
So when you really don't have, I wouldn't say not having a lot going on. That's a terrible statement, but you have the ability to fail and not have a huge impact on others around you. So I would say fail early and fail often, because that's how you're going to ultimately grow as a person. And number 3, just be kind, I guess. The world's full of hateful people, and it's so easy to be hateful now with the internet.
It's easy.
So easy, because you don't have to put a face or a real name behind it. So I just would say, be kind. You never know what somebody's going through, and what a smile can do, or a nice gesture to them. So
yeah, no, I love that.
Okay,
all 3 of those. Those perfect, man.
I'm going to rewatch this.
What is something you love about Baton Rouge?
I tell you, the people.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. I get to travel for my job. Just the people here. There's some good people. So I've gone through Chinese drywall when I built my first home. I went through the flood in 2016. Just seeing how people that you don't even know. Now, mind you, the people you do know as well, but people you don't know step up and become a community of one to help out those in need. I guarantee you, I'm not saying you don't have it in pockets, throughout the U.S., but I challenge you to find a better place with human beings that'll step up and may not have something to give, but will give you the shirt off their back.
Yeah. It's a community-driven
area
that we live in, where, to your point, when it's needed, people come up, they come forward, and they give it their all to help out. So,
100%.
Final question.
Okay.
What can I do to help you?
Nothing. This was super cool. I think this is about all we can do, because like I said, I'm not really looking to build an empire or a brand. I love people sharing my work. I love people commenting nice things on. I always get kind of some notes like, man, really love this. These are fire. I like things like that. So I'm not really here looking to plug anything as much as I am just thankful for the opportunity to share my story and my journey. Because like I said, I hope it inspires others to do it. I mean, it's really cool. It's super cool. If you've got an artistic bone in your body and you're trying to differentiate yourself from another artist, I don't think shoes are going to go anywhere anytime soon.
No, people are going to be wearing them for quite a little while.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, I don't think we're tapped into that branding piece as much as it could be. I think we're just really dipping a toe in what, because I tell you, when I get calls, if I get 100 calls, 90 of them are about, I'd like to do something around my business. I mean, because at that point, you're a walking billboard.
Right.
And it becomes a conversational piece.
It's a conversational piece. It is a instant pickup for most people. You're going to notice what shoes they're wearing, right? You may not.
They say shoes, watch. I forget what it is.
It's shoes, watch. And I don't know what there's 3 key things.
I read it
you
somewhere.
Can wear.
I don't retain information well.
We read the same article. We're both like, no, shoes. That's it. That's all you ever recognize. Yeah. But it's true. People are going to recognize certain key things about you, and one of them's going to be your shoes, right? And then people within shoes in the sneaker world, it becomes collector items. And so then, to your point about that individual that's got 80-something pairs, they just built up this massive collection, and it becomes just something they geek out about. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I love some people won't even wear them. They get an acrylic box and I'm hanging this in my office. Oh, we painted this too.
Like for you to wear to show off.
They're like, oh no, we're not. We're not dirty in these. And so that has been a cool gift, that people have given for Christmas and to major clients, putting their logo, the company's logo. And so it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of unique and cool. I mean, you can't. Here's what I'll say, and I'll leave you with this: is when I was talking to Brandon Landry about it. It's what is he going to get to somebody that can go buy anything? You take a Dak Prescott.
Right.
Got a couple $100 million. Dude can buy whatever he wants. but what if you get something customized one of one for him? That's an impactful, thoughtful gift. And so that's why I've been kind of taking, I love that angle is that this is something unique that tells somebody, hey man, you thought enough of me to have this personally made for me. Thank you. And so that's what I've been trying to create.
Yeah, and you've done it very, very well, man.
Thank you.
So
appreciate that.
Normally we ask people how to get a hold of you, but I'm just going to say, how do we prevent people, from getting a hold of you?
I don't want to be like.
How do we stop people coming to you?
Look at this jacket. No,
here's everything I do great. Don't call me.
Yeah, no. Because here's what I ultimately want to get to the point where I'm doing like 4 to 5. I want to take 4 to 5 a month. But I think I'm at this process of I was just super overwhelmed with taking on that secondary order, and I didn't realize just what and trying to keep up with the small franchise orders, and you can't. There's certain people you just can't say no to,
right?
Because they helped me get to where I am today. But I do want to ultimately get to where I want to. I might want to do like charge 3 people. I see something cool for charity and give it away. You know what I mean? Because again, it's not about the money, but you can find me at Duncan's Custom Kicks on Instagram. That's about the only place I'm at. And if you see something you like, just double tap and leave a comment.
Double tap and leave fire.
Yeah, fire.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, dude, for coming in. Appreciate you sharing your story. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing some more kicks.
Absolutely. We're going to have to do something soon.
Oh, yeah. We'll chat. We'll chat.
For sure.
So thank you, everybody else, for listening or watching, whatever platform you're consuming us on. Very appreciative of you. Yeah, go check out Duncan's Custom Kicks. We're going to have them linked up in the show notes so you can go find them pretty easily. And he's just making pair after pair for some incredible people, incredible situations, and it's going to keep rocking and rolling. So this is the latest episode of the Patty G Show. We're out.
Don't want a complication.